Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Thomas Kimsey, President Thomas USAF Group out of Atlanta, BNI lender extraordinaire. Thomas, good to see you. You're going to give us an update on the BNI program, so I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Bob.
And Lance Sexton, Lance, what's you're no longer. We changed your bio. What happened there, Lance?
Well, Bob, I had a great opportunity come up, and I have joined Chris Hearn and Fountainhead Commercial Capital, working in servicing and liquidation, as you would expect, Bob, and very excited to be a part of Fountainhead Capital. Great organization, did an incredible job with PPP, good 7A lender, 504 lender, and I'm just happy to be part of that team.
Well, as you know, everyone knows I'm a friend of both Lance and Chris. Chris has been on the show for a couple of years now, and Lance for eternity. I think it's a good match, Lance. Do you have to move to Orlando, or are you going to be able to stay in Arkansas?
Actually, Fountainhead has quite a number of team members who work from other locations, so I'm going to be able to stay in Arkansas, but we'll make periodic trips to be with the team down in Orlando. But we'll be office.
That's a tough gig. There's nothing to do in Orlando when you're not working.
That's what Chris said. You'll occasionally come to Orlando. I'm like, thank you, Chris. No, I'm excited.
Yeah. Hey, there's the certificates. We have a lot of news. Let's get to it. Number one, do you utilize the USDA BNI loan program for rural borrowers? Thomas, how are we doing this year? Volume up or down?
You know, Bob, with the 1RD regulation coming into effect last October 1, you know, the volume has exploded with the 80% guarantee up to 25 million. So we've just seen a tremendous amount of volume come through. The agency's done a good job finding additional monies, particularly from some carryover from the last year. So we were concerned a couple months ago we were going to run out of funding, but they came up with another 300 million and another 300, and so we feel pretty good about getting through the end of the fiscal year. It may get a little tight as we get closer to September 30th, but we feel okay right now.
1/3 say yes, 2/3 say no, and rounding up the numbers. Thomas, it's a subsidized program. One of the criticisms of BNI is that it runs out of money. You're talking a couple $100 million here, a couple $100 million there, so that's for subsidy. What is the total authority for BNI this year?
Well, it was only around $1 billion
right.
This year, a little over $1 billion, and then with some carryover and some things, you know, that's up to about $1.6 billion, and could be, you know, a little higher as we move along. But I think we're in good shape. Like I say, the agency's done a good job finding this additional funding to keep the program going.
I want to talk about Para Pursue, where we can do an SBA loan in conjunction with the BNI loan. Give me a realistic, typical situation when we can pair 7A/ or 504 with the BNI loan. What type of project and how does that normally work? And volume amount and how much does that normally? How does it work?
I can, give you a live example when we're getting ready to close this month, where we've got $15 million in BNI and a $5 million 7A, for $20 million. They're on the debt side along with their equity contribution. It's close to a $30 million project cost. But this project's primarily equipment, not real estate. Typically, we do see real estate projects, but this is primarily all equipment. So, doing the combination works really well, allows you to leverage up to get the additional funding that we need to do these larger projects that we're seeing. And so, we've done a lot of these over the years. It's worked well. Two agencies understand it, and it's just a good way to increase the capital stack.
Sure, and especially in today's environment, you have a 90% 7A guarantee, plus you said BNI is up to 80%.
That's right.
That's very attractive.
Very attractive.
That's a $30 million deal. I think that's that normally on the high side, or is that, what is your average deal size these days?
Our average deal size these days is around $10 million.
Okay.
We've definitely seen the average deal size increase the past few years.
Well, I love having Thomas come on and talk about this. I think first of all, it's a great program if you have SBA expertise. It's a natural fit for USDA. You can do USD on a standalone basis. You can do it in conjunction with the 7A. Can we match 504 with the BNI, Thomas?
No, I haven't done a 504 BNI combo, so certainly be interesting, but I have not done one of those. I'm not sure. I'm not saying it hasn't been done, but I'm not familiar if it's been done.
And real quick, the two most common ones are BNI, stands for Business and Industry, and Community Facilities. Very quickly, what would typical use of proceeds, what type of industry would we be financing under both those programs?
Well, under the BNI, we can business and industry. We can do, we can do skilled nursing, assisted living. We can do hospitality, manufacturing. I'm looking at a large barge deal right now as well. So pretty broad sector there. Under the community facility, it's obviously specific for nonprofits and municipal governments as well. So we could, basically build a town from the ground up. We could do, a hospital, a medical clinic. We can finance a fire station, a police station, any number of things, or a college can utilize that as well, as long as it's a nonprofit.
Well, I think these are, I know there was a case study of they actually financed a dam, a lot of renewable energy.
That's correct.
So that's why I love to have Thomas coming in and talk about the program. How is the program faring statistically? What's loan performance look like?
Loan performance looks good. I mean, as far as the portfolio and, as far as defaults and things like that, the program is performing very well. So we're very pleased about that. Keeping that subsidy rate down, so we're not asking for a lot of budget authority. So we're very pleased with both the BNI and the CF portfolios are performing very well.
And I'll give the pitch for Thomas. Thomas will work with you any way you want. He can walk you through it. You can keep the loan on your books, or he can have you keep it on the books and you can sell to him. They are the market maker in the secondary market, or you can refer to them for a fee. So I know you guys are very creative on what you can do.
We're here to help, Bob. I had a call this morning. I'm just here to help, so I try to help facilitate providing access to capital in rural America. That's what I like to do.
I love it. Very good. Well, I appreciate that insight. Maybe, hey, we're going to get a little bit formal on invitations. I think we got you on a monthly schedule. Let's bring in a case study next time so the lenders can see how that works.
Sure.
Great. Well, thank you for that update.
Thank you, Bob.
Go ahead, Lance.
My immediate question for Thomas is on the $30 million deal. On the SBA side, I bet you had to use alternative size standards on that.
No, we actually didn't. It was a newer company, and because of the manufacturing component of it, we were able to utilize the traditional size standards.
Good. I was just curious.
But I have to say, Lance, I do like that alternative size standard. So
yeah, I think quite often SBA lenders forget about alternative size standards and had a
Lance,
project.
You brought it up. What is the alternative size standard?
Well, I had a project the other day, Bob, that was looking at a multiple franchise. Accumulated the revenue numbers. It was a revenue-based size standard of the borrower and the affiliates. It was right at or slightly over the size standard, but we flipped to the alternative size standard, which allows you to look at net worth as an example, to your average net worth, and the project was able to be done. So just letting the participant lenders know, all the people, good SBA citizens on the call, that if you pull up the size standard and it does not meet it, make sure and go into your 50-10-6 and read about alternative size standard, because I've had a handful of projects in my career that we had to use alternative size standards.
Yeah, and Lance, my information be out of date, but limited to what, $2 million of income per year, and
yeah, there's a net income calculation and net worth requirement. And the net worth, I'm pretty sure the net worth requirements average $3 million net worth. Well, yeah, that's going to allow you to do some pretty sizable sizable small businesses. But anyway, I just want to throw that one at Thomas, because I'm thinking $30 million must be alternative size standards.
Very good. Thank you, Lance.
Thanks.
Have your restaurant borrowers received restaurant revitalization funding? Last, Joseph, I think we did this about a week ago. We were at 3%, but a bunch of funds have been released. So let's like to see if it's doubled. We're up to 8%, no 42%. Lance, is that your experience in the marketplace?
Bob, I'm going to tell you, I'm aware of a handful of restaurants that have applied. None that I'm aware of have received money yet, but they're expecting it any day.
Okay, good. What about you, Thomas? Are you in that niche, that product niche?
We haven't. I mean, we've tried to help a few clients, direct them to help them there. And we've got, I think a couple we're talking to, but no, we have not had any that have funded.
Wrapping up the B&I thing, I had a couple notes. I want to make sure people understand. Number one, when you sell these loans to the secondary market, you get to keep everything over 110, unlike SBA where you have to split it. The lender does get to keep it. The lender also has a lot of creativity in working with the borrower and the agency and structuring these transactions. That you can do prepayment penalties, which make it more attractive to the secondary market. The other thing also, Thomas, is there is no limit on guarantors. I know you have one particular guarantor that you have a number of transactions with, but we're not capped in B&I, are we?
That's right. And, there was in the old rule that you did have the $50 million guarantor limit. They removed that in 1RD, so we don't have that limit anymore. So, yes, you can just keep going. And I'm not saying they're an unlimited amount. Obviously, it would be a concentration.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's a cap somewhere.
But it does allow you to go above that number to do a lot of these larger transactions.
Well, what I like about that, it's not a one-off. You do a $5 million 7A for a hotel. It's a one-off. You can't help them. Now you can bring those people and say, hey, you have a I-80 interstate out of Colby, Kansas hotel. Yeah, that's rural, and we'll be happy to take care of them. What percentage of your PPP loans are unforgiven? Lance, what do you think?
I'm going to guess it's going to, it depends on if you're talking about units or dollars, but I'm going to guess it's 33 to 50.
33 to 50 is 29%, less than 20%, is it 40%? 14% say 20 to 33, and over 50%, 17% of those lenders have unforgiven PPP loans. Lance, this is your 30-second elevator pitch. How do we solve this issue, and what are you talking about next Wednesday, or this Wednesday?
Well, the unforgiven, first of all, just encouraging your borrowers to go ahead and complete the forgiveness process. Part of the reason I was thinking it was 33 to 50 is most of your most recent PPP loans are most of them are still in the not out of the covered period yet. So people who participated in the second draw and the first draw in this new round of PPP that has happened over the last few months, most of those loans have not been submitted yet. Your first round loans, I think participant lenders need to aggressively pursue getting the applicants to go ahead and apply for forgiveness. Now, the webinar on Wednesday, Bob, is going to talk about how to service the PPP loans where there is a remaining balance. And it's very important to understand what SBA expects from us as participant lenders in servicing PPP loans, the unforgiven balances on PPP loans, and it's things like how do you deal with the bankruptcy on an unforgiven PPP loan. And we're going to tag on to the end of that, Bob, and talk about some servicing actions that will help you on your regular 7A portfolio. The 11-12 payments have wrapped up for most 7A borrowers. There's still some available in hotel and restaurant in that hospitality category. But 11-12 payments are ending, Bob, and we're going to find out if those people are going to perform or not perform. And you need to know as a SBA lender how to take care of those.
Lance, you're a fish in water. You're going to love your new assignment, just focusing on servicing liquidation. I know, and you're one of these servicers and liquidators that you try everything you can to keep the business going, to keep the employees going.
Well, and Bob, the SOP even states that it's one of our objectives is to keep a small business owner performing or performing on that SBA loan and using the 50-57-2 and its various servicing actions to achieve that.
No, you're going to be great in your new role. Lance, are you at Lance was a couple days off last week. Oh, by the way, Katie's off today. We expect to see her tomorrow, Katie. Do you know what's going on with these codes? Are you up to date? Go ahead, Lance.
It's going to be very interesting because basically the SBA has told PPP lenders, the non-CDFI PPP lenders to, if the application is not approved yet, doesn't have an SBA number, or further research is required, we're supposed to notify the borrowers that they will not be able to get a PPP loan. Now, most good SBA lenders are going to send that notification and encourage them to go to a community development finance institution to get PPP loans, because there's still, Bob, if I remember correctly, $7 or $8 billion available for those CDFI PPP lenders. But if there's not a loan number, if it's in further research required status, as a PPP lender, you're supposed to withdraw those and send notification to the borrower.
In the next 4 hours, right? I mean, this is up-to-date stuff that we're talking about, Lance.
Supposed to happen today, Bob. And
you got 4 hours to get it done.
It's a challenge, Bob, because, just talking with people, I don't think the CDFIs will use the $8 billion. I think there'll be some money left at the end that may turn around and get put back in the general pool. It's hard to say, but, we're being told that if they don't have a number, and if it's in further research status, that we're supposed to withdraw those applications and send.
Well, logistically, though, the lender doesn't need to withdraw them. SBA automatically deletes them, correct, Lance? The lender doesn't.
SBA should delete those, but the release from SBA says the lenders are supposed to withdraw those applications.
Okay. Well, and the primary reason is we want to withdraw them. So if your borrower is looking to get funding, they can go through the CDFI. There's not this other number hanging out there, so they can go ahead and do that.
But I think the challenge with this, Bob, is if they do release some of that money back into the regular, you turned around people who were in process, you're telling them, no, you're not going to get it. So it's still up in the air, but this is what SBA is telling us that we have to do. The Office of Capital Access is saying this must be done. So, there are going to be some very busy PPP lenders today. But I mean, most have automated systems, Bob, and can pull email addresses and
I guess the point I want to raise is I don't see any numbers coming down in the next 3.5 hours. Do you?
No.
At 4:59 Eastern, hey, we got the loan approved. Common sense guidance on 504 certifications. SBA wants to see the words COVID in there and how that's affecting the footprint, i.e. you can simply say, hey, we're looking better. We don't anticipate a problem. Bam, that's all you really need to do. Or we're in a surge, and this is how this is going to impact this company, right, Lance?
Exactly, Bob. And this has been out there for a while. It's just kind of
they're just extending it. Yeah, I think that. Hey, a couple questions. Greg says, hoping the webinar can also cover how to handle PPP borrowers who simply don't send in the paperwork, even after the lender has asked them to do so multiple times.
For forgiveness?
Yeah.
We can talk about that. Bring it up in the webinar, but we can absolutely talk about that. I mean, if they're not sending in the forgiveness request,
they're going to get
at the end of the covered period plus 10-month deferment, they start making payments.
Well, if they're not sending in the paperwork, I assume they're not going to send in payments either.
Yeah, I think, Bob, not sending the paperwork in may be an indication. But again, Bob, it's confusing to PPP borrowers because everybody at the end of last year was saying, oh, wait, hold on. We're not sure what the tax implications are. So, I mean, there are probably some borrowers who have just forgotten. And, Bob, you're right. There's some who probably never are going to submit it. And probably will be a challenge in terms of chasing them down from a servicing perspective. And I promise you, Bob, I'll be fully immersed in that activity.
We're going to close the show with this question by Raman. Can nonprofit organizations obtain EIDL loans?
Raman, I'm not 100% sure on the EIDL loans. I really have not focused on those well enough to answer that question. I'll
tell you what, we have a number of scored people on. We'll talk to our friends in Texas.
Somebody who's the problem, Raman, because it's a loan that you apply directly to the SBA.
SBA,
yeah, I followed it, but not,
I thought they could apply for one.
I'm sorry?
I thought they could apply, but, somebody needs to confirm that.
All right, well,
I lean toward agreeing with Thomas, Bob, because, PPP, they let nonprofits apply theirs. So, but I'm not sure.
Okay, very good. Hey, Thomas, good to see you. Love what you do out there for rural America. Lance, congratulations on your position. I know you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
we're looking forward to Katie back tomorrow. And thank you all for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great afternoon,
everybody.